Different date, same fate. I'ma knock out Jake Paul.
What's that?
You're an appetizer, brother. You're an appetizer. You're a Mike appetizer. Did you move to Florida after private school? Is that when you became a Florida?
Different date, same fate. That's what Mike Tyson said about his upcoming clash with Jake Paul. The fight of the century is back on, and this time Tyson has upped the stakes.
Yeah, the news is true, folks.
November 15th is the date, and this isn't just a boxing match, it's a test of survival. The legendary Mike Tyson, a man whose fists have left a trail of broken dreams and shattered jaws, is stepping back into the ring. His target, none other than Jake Paul, the YouTuber-turned-boxer who's been making headlines with his brash attitude and unexpected victories. But Tyson isn't impressed. He's out for blood, and he's making sure Jake knows it. The fight was almost off the table. Jake Paul tried to cancel it, citing concerns for Tyson's health.
Obviously, devastating news. I'm heartbroken, speechless, gutted. We've been working so hard over here, everyone in this camp, and I just feel bad for everyone involved in this.
I'm just looking out for Mike, he said. But Tyson wasn't buying any of it. The $350 million fine he slapped on Jake isn't just about money, it's about respect. Something Tyson feels has been in short supply from the Paul camp. Now, with new fight rules designed to push Jake to the brink, Tyson is ready to show the world what it means to face a real champion. Can Jake Paul survive the wrath of Iron Mike? Or will he be left crumpled on the canvas? Buckle up, because we're diving into the most explosive fight buildup of the decade. Tyson's career was a whirlwind of victories. He became known for his brutal knockouts, earning nicknames like Iron Mike and the baddest man on the planet. His bouts were often short, opponents would crumble under his relentless assault. Tyson's peak came in the late 1980s, when he was virtually unbeatable. He unified the WBC, WBA, and IBF titles, becoming the undisputed heavyweight champion. When the fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul was announced, the reactions were mixed. Some were thrilled, seeing it as a clash between old-school boxing and the new wave of celebrity fighters. Others were outraged, feeling that a YouTuber like Jake Paul had no business being in the same ring as a legend like Tyson. Boxing experts weighed in with their predictions. Some believed Jake Paul didn't stand a chance. Tyson's experience, power, and ring IQ were seen as too much for the young fighter to handle. Others thought Jake's youth and agility could give him an edge, especially if Tyson had slowed down with age. Everything changed on July 5, 2024. Jake Paul released a video announcing the cancellation of his fight with Mike Tyson. The reason? Concern for Tyson's health. Jake claimed he had received medical advice indicating that at 58, Tyson might not be up for the challenge. "I have too much respect for Mike," Jake said. "His health comes first. We can't risk it." The announcement hit like a bombshell. Fans were stunned. Promoters were furious. Sponsors were livid. The internet exploded with confusion and speculation. Why would Jake cancel? Was he genuinely concerned about Tyson, or was there another reason? Some speculated that Jake was afraid of losing. Tyson had been looking fierce in his training videos, showing he still had the power to knock out any opponent. Jake tried to calm the storm, urging fans to focus on his upcoming fight with Mike Perry instead. "It's not about Tyson," he said. "It's about making sure the fans get a good show," but the damage was done. The excitement around Tyson vs. Paul had been replaced by disappointment and anger. Tyson's reaction was swift. He wasn't about to let Jake get away with canceling. Tyson hit Jake with a $350 million lawsuit, claiming the cancellation had caused massive financial losses. Sponsors like Monster Energy and DraftKings had invested heavily in promoting the fight. Broadcasters had secured exclusive rights, expecting huge pay-per-view numbers. The sudden cancellation left them all in the lurch. Legal experts weighed in on the lawsuit. Some thought the amount was excessive, while others believed Tyson had a strong case. Contracts had been signed and money had been spent. Jake Paul's decision to cancel had serious financial implications. As the legal battle heated up, the boxing world watched closely. This wasn't just about a fight, it was about contracts, commitments, and the business of boxing. Why did Tyson sue for $350 million? Let's break it down. The financial fallout from the cancellation was massive. First, there were the advertising campaigns. Companies had spent millions on commercials, billboards, and online ads promoting Tyson vs. Paul. These campaigns were tailored specifically to the fight, and with the fight off, they were essentially useless. Next, there were the sponsorships. Big brands had lined up to have their names associated with the fight. This was supposed to be one of the biggest boxing events of the year, and everyone wanted a piece of the action. When Jake canceled, those sponsorship deals turned into financial black holes. Brands had invested in a fight that wasn't happening, and they wanted their money back. Then there were the venue bookings. A fight of this magnitude requires months of planning. Venues are booked, staff are hired, and logistics are arranged. Canceling at the last minute means those costs can't be recovered. Broadcasters had secured exclusive rights to air the fight, expecting millions of viewers and massive pay-per-view sales. All of that was gone in an instant. The $350 million figure wasn't just a random number. It was a reflection of the real financial impact of Jake's decision. Tyson's team argued that the amount was necessary to compensate for the losses incurred. Critics called it excessive, arguing that Jake didn't intend to cause harm. But in the world of professional sports, intentions matter less than contracts. With the lawsuit underway, Tyson made a bold move. If Jake wanted the fight, he'd have to agree to Tyson's terms. These weren't just any terms, they were designed to push Jake to his limits. Extended fight duration. Instead of the usual 8 rounds, the fight would go for 15. This wasn't just about making the fight longer, it was about testing endurance. In the old days, 15-round fights were the norm. It was a brutal test of stamina, with fighters often exhausted by the end. Tyson wanted to bring that back. Jake, who was used to shorter fights, would have to adapt. He'd need to pace himself, conserve energy, and be ready to go the distance. Shortened rest periods between rounds. Fighters usually get a minute to rest, catch their breath, and receive advice from their corners. Tyson cut that to 30 seconds. Half the time to recover means twice the pressure. Jake would have to stay sharp, stay focused, and keep his energy up without the usual breaks. Smaller gloves. Tyson insisted on using 8-ounce gloves, lighter than the more common 10-ounce gloves. The smaller gloves mean harder hits, with less padding to absorb the impact. Each punch lands with more force, increasing the risk of injury. Jake would have to be ready to take hits and dish out his own. Knockout only rule. No points, no decisions, no judges. The fight had to end with a knockout. This rule favored Tyson, known for his knockout power. Jake, who often relied on strategy and points to win, would have to change his approach. Every punch would need to be aimed at ending the fight. The Iron Man round. A brutal new rule. The Iron Man round would last for a full 3 minutes of non-stop fighting. No breaks, no stoppages, just continuous action. This would be the ultimate test of stamina and resilience. Tyson knew he could handle it. The question was, could Jake? Random drug tests. To ensure fairness, Tyson demanded mandatory and random drug testing. Jake would have to comply, with no room for any performance-enhancing shortcuts. Tyson wanted a clean fight, a true test of skill and strength. No clinching. Where fighters grab each other to stop the action, is often used to buy time or disrupt the opponent's rhythm. Tyson wanted none of that. He wanted a fight, not a dance. Jake would have to stay active, keep moving, and continue fighting without relying on clinching to recover. These rules were designed to favor Tyson's strengths and challenge Jake's weaknesses. They were a reminder that in the ring, Tyson was the boss. If Jake wanted to fight, he'd have to play by Tyson's rules. As the fight approached, both fighters went into intense training camps. Tyson, ever the professional, knew what it took to prepare for a big fight. His training was a mix of old-school boxing techniques and modern conditioning. Sparring sessions were brutal, designed to simulate the intensity of a real fight. Tyson's trainers pushed him to his limits, knowing that he needed to be in peak physical condition to go 15 rounds. Tyson's training wasn't just about physical preparation, it was mental as well. He studied Jake's previous fights, looking for weaknesses to exploit. He visualized the fight, imagining how he would dominate Jake in the ring. Tyson's confidence was unshakable. He had faced tougher opponents in his career, and he knew he had the skills to win. Both fighters were focused, determined, and ready to give it their all. The training camps were a testament to their dedication, showing that they were serious about the fight. As the days counted down, the anticipation grew. Fans couldn't wait to see what would happen when these two fighters finally met in the ring. The day of the fight arrived, and the atmosphere was electric. Fans from all over the world had gathered, eager to see the clash between Tyson and Paul. The arena was packed, with tickets selling out within minutes of going on sale. Celebrities, athletes, and boxing legends were in attendance, adding to the excitement. Promoters had pulled out all the stops, turning the event into a spectacle. There were fan events, press conferences, and interviews with both fighters. The weigh-in was